Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where we are discussing climate change, abrupt climate change, the possibility for compassionate degrowth or grace in the face of catastrophe. So Donald Trump is doing his State of the Union right now, so I figured I'd come out and do a video and talk about reality, because whatever they're talking about is just fantasy land. Jobs and the economy and nuclear weapons and strong military and what blah blah blah. He is the ultimate cheerleader for our current paradigm. And possibly Guy McPherson might be the ultimate cheerleader. I say that jokingly. He has a new video out on Nature Bats Last about continuing industrial civilization as a way to prolong habitat for humans and other species. Which okay, we can all debate what it is that we need to do in the moment, the way forward, whether it's worth trying or mitigating or taking a stand or taking action or not doing anything or being nice or being kind or grabbing a gun and going ape shit. I mean, there are a million ways to approach the news and a million ways to approach the future, and we all can probably debate our way out of a paper bag. A few of us, I think. I just don't. I choose not to spend my time debating people about things as much as possible. Which is why I do this YouTube channel, because it's just much easier to get on here and just say what I feel, and then people can go yay or no. Anyways, I halfway agree with Guy McPherson on that. It's much preferable to probably keep civilization going right now, right in the very moment. I personally think that we should plan on mitigating disaster and so compassionate degrowth or de-escalation of the economy or fossil fuels or whatever, like that needs to happen if we're going to have a path out. But certainly we need to give ourselves some time if we're going to find a tech solution or a technological solution, or if we're going to create an actual realistic master plan or whatever it might be. Certainly giving ourselves some more time is better than pulling the plug right now and watching the temperature skyrocket in the next year or two, which might already happen. Whether we do that or not, we may be just stuck. The ultimate global catch-22. But I think a planned, careful walk down from industrial civilization, utilizing some technology, utilizing carbon capture, utilizing lots of agriculture and growing things and growing our own food and decrease in population, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of things need to happen, shutting down nuclear plants, et cetera, all of that stuff. Again, we probably have a 0.00001% chance of making it out of this mess. And that actually depends upon human beings agreeing that that's what we need to do. And that's probably the biggest thing that's standing in our way. So I want to read a couple things tonight. I have a short list, but it's an important list, and one of the articles is very long. I'm going to get into it. So we have something new from Way Past What the Fuck. This is titled 50 Things You Can Do to Save the Earth. Well, you're not really going to save the Earth, because we all know it's too late for that. In the early 1990s, there was a book called 50 Simple Things You Can Do to Save the Earth by John Javna. The original version of that book, Javner realized, gave people an out. They didn't really have to do anything, and they could still feel good about themselves. He has since re-released his book and included some issues that you can pick from and focus on. Anyway, anyone with a brain reading these books will quickly realize that they should be called 50 Things You Can Do to Assuage Your Guilt and Do Absolutely Nothing for the Earth. And keeping with the idea that there is anything you can do to save the world, here's my list of 50 simple things you can do while doing absolutely nothing. The list is taken from my book, Stop Doing So Much Shit. And yes, that is a shameless plug, and that's an actual book. The following things will cost you nothing. They will be in keeping with the slacker code of PMCM, which stands for participate minimally, chill maximally. I like that. And you can feel good about knowing, you can feel good about yourself knowing that you are following in the footsteps of great leaders such as Gandhi, who advocated nonviolent non-participation. Totally like the idea of non-participation and nonviolent non-participation. Number 1, put on your shoes. Number 2, take off your shoes. 3, pick your nose. 4, laugh inappropriately. 5, eat something tasty. 6, pick up a book. 7, put the book back down, realizing it will take effort to read it. 8, look out the window. 9, roll over in bed. 10, snore. You may need someone to make sure you follow through on this. 11, fold a towel. That is actually helpful. This is actually helpful. 12, imagine that you can fly. 13, clear your throat in a quiet, crowded place. 14, fart. 15, let the cats out before you go to bed. Another helpful one. 16, slide around the house in your socking feet. 17, put the dog on a blanket and take it for a ride around the house. They really like this. 18, walk in the park. 19, lie down in the grass. Same park if you like. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. 20, find an interesting bug. 21, think about stuff. 22, erase the eyes in a magazine picture. Don't leave it out because it is scary to see at night. 23, throw something away. 24, weigh yourself 5 times in one day. 25, build a fort in your living room of blankets and chairs and then hide in it. That was really fun. I remember being 5. I will stop here for a moment to let you know that this does have an application, but according to my rules of order, you have to read through all 50 items before you get to find out why. Sort of a leap of faith. Do you trust me? 26, close your eyes and see if it seems to take longer to walk down your hall. 27, laugh at somebody who bumps into something and then feel embarrassed. 28, reach for something on a high shelf, and if you can't quite get it, give up. 29, see how people react when you adopt an air of smug self-righteousness. 30, smile at people for a whole day. I'm laughing because that's actually how I operate. Not the smile part, the smug self-righteousness. 31, say something weird to a store clerk just to see what happens. Oh, 30 was smile at people for a whole day. 32, spend a whole day pretending you're from a foreign country. Sweden works good for this as it is easy to pretend you're speaking Swedish. No one will know. 33, tell a close friend that you are a CIA assassin. 34, stare at someone till they get uncomfortable and then tell them it's okay because you're a writer. 35, look at someone in public and then put your finger to your ear and say, I have eyes on the target. This is more fun if they can hear you. 36, go to an upscale shopping center and pretend you're from the past. 37, tell people that you're an alien. 38, pile 3 rocks on top of each other and then stand back and admire your handiwork. 39, see if you can get a friend to believe you saw them in a cheesy horror film. 40, put on a pair of shorts. 41, find some trash and turn it into an art project. 42, stare curiously up at a tree to see if other people will stare as well. Once enough people are staring, you can leave. 43, find a large rock and sit on it. 44, line up all the fruit and vegetables you have in the house and then do a little show for them. 45, make your bed. 46, fold your underwear. 47, berate yourself for not doing things as useless as making your bed or folding your underwear. 48, look at the street and say, damn, in a surprised way. 49, go to a... Sorry. 49, go to a public place with a friend and then loudly accuse them of taking your hands and wearing them in public without your permission. 50, go back to bed as you will be tired from doing all these things. And then the point, There is power in not doing something. There is power in not buying what they are selling. There is power in walking away. There is power in not participating. When you take away the money, you stop buying their shit, then you are in control. So in keeping with the idea of doing stuff, gather your close friends and then very publicly boycott something. It will do no good at all to just stop, for example, going to Starbucks. You have to let people know about it. My current plan for a boycott is to assemble a list of all the local businesses that support D, the Cheeto Trump, then refuse to patronize their establishment or make use of the services they offer. The effect this would have is to take away the money and to let these people know that their actions have repercussions. The more loudly we proclaim that we won't take it anymore, the more good it will do. Ultimately, though, this will not save anything. The planet will still deteriorate and we will still suffer and watch others suffer and finally die. But hey, let's have a little fun on the way out. Really good stuff, again, by Michael Campy. Hope you all enjoyed that. I like to use things for free. Like, I never eat at McDonald's, but I always stop and go to the bathroom in McDonald's or Starbucks. I do actually use Starbucks, but well, I'm not going to tell you my secret, but there's a way basically to get free coffee from Starbucks, and I try to exploit it whenever I can. And I don't ever really feel bad. And then I use the bathroom for free. Like, so my favorite thing is to go into Starbucks, get a free cup of coffee and go use the bathroom and leave. I feel like I'm just sucking energy out of Starbucks. But maybe that's not good. I don't know. Maybe I should rethink that whole thing. Who knows? I don't think about it too much. The next thing I'm going to read is probably the last thing I'm going to read for this video. But this is interesting because this is actually from a sponsored Facebook ad. So the person that wrote this made an ad on Facebook and, put some money on it and wanted people to see this. And I thought it very interesting because I actually saw it in 2 different places. I think somebody reposted it. And I'll probably repost it myself. There's so many things to repost, so many things to read and repost that I actually don't want to be one of those people that just post 80 things a day. Like, I don't know. I like to be meaningful in my social media posts. And I guess it's the same with videos. Like, I actually could do like 4 videos a day because there's just so much to talk about. But I feel like 4 videos would just suck all the energy out of like one important, one good video, right? So I do one good video and I do like 1 or 2 good posts a day on social media because I feel like it's more important than making 80 posts or 8 or 10 and having like a couple of people see, and as soon as my problem is, as soon as I make a political post or anything in any way political or controversial or thoughtful or, thought-provoking, I noticed that the algorithms immediately go like, erase this guy from everybody's timeline, erase him. It's quite remarkable how quickly that happens. So I do a lot of like fluffy things, music and family things. And every once in a while I slip a political post in because, I've gotten my reach up, I'm all the avenues are open, the pathways are open, the algorithms aren't looking at me. And so I like sneak a little political thing in, wham. And enough people go, oh, and they see it. And then I go back to like cute and fluffy. That's my algorithm cheat. If you all want to use that, it kind of works. This is called Shotzi's Earth Project, or that's the website. And the article from February 3rd is called How to Save Yourself If You Happen to Be Super Rich. I read this whole thing and I really liked it, so I'm going to read the whole thing again. I've recently been reading in the media that we have 12 years to save ourselves before climate change really kicks in and leads to a hothouse Earth, think Venus. This is both a pathetically misleading and laughable notion. I hate to say it out loud, but that ship has left the harbor perhaps several dozen years ago. Much like if you ask a physicist if humans really have free will, they will hem and haw and try not to make eye contact with you, and then when pressed, they have to tell you that actually there's no such thing as free will. That's an entirely different topic. Scientists who deal with climate change in virtually any type of Earth system, atmospheric, oceanic, energy, etc., will tell you it's too late already. We are locked in to so much more warming of the planet, which is akin to a ticking time bomb, that it's beyond hope. Throwing out a tiny life raft of hope is almost cruel, to be honest, which is why I stopped writing a few years ago. It seems like a waste of my time and precious resources to have even spent so much for the years I did write, all to no avail. So why am I even bothering now? First, let me say that we have the ability and know-how to save ourselves from extinction. We always have. And with the avalanche of published data and research on such topics, it's really an abundance of riches in what and how to proceed. Hell, we have thousands of people working to get at least some of us off the planet in the crazy ass hope that humans cannot be totally extinct. Colonizing anything seems easier than shutting up climate change deniers, science deniers, and the fossil fuel industry in order to save our damn selves. How lame is that? People like Elon Musk are driving themselves batshit crazy, trying to colonize freaking Mars, because that seems easier than just repairing the damage we've done to our home planet. We are quite literally almost too pathetic to even save, except for the fact that we are quite possibly the only intelligent life in this entire universe. If you think aliens are out there who are going to swoop in and either save us or alternately enslave us and harvest our resources, I'd ask you just to sit and observe your cat, dog, rat, or any pet you may have at your disposal. Hell, even your goldfish. Now think about how lunatic and hysterical we humans would be if we actually found something 1/100th as intelligent as any of those animals on another planet. It would be the end of days for many, and the military budget would quadruple overnight. But I'm here to tell you that my cat, who I adore and who I generally think of as being a little intelligent, cannot even open his food bag when he's hungry. So intelligent life is a misnomer at best. But I digress. I think we are worth saving because, as physicist Max Tegmark says, and I paraphrase, if we weren't here to be astonished by how amazing our universe is, thus no one else was, wouldn't that just be an enormous waste? With that said, I must preface my ideas for having a chance to even save some of us by saying again that things are really bad. Like, our situation is so tenuous that I literally don't worry about having to eat cat food in my old age. I'm 55 years old now because, well, this is not going to be my main problem. Some people may have seen the hysterical headlines, which also concurrently feel obligated not to start widespread panic, which would be actually appropriate, by including terse statements that there is nothing to worry about. No, nothing to see here, folks, that the poles are moving and shifting toward Russia. I can hear it now. Oh no, Putin and the Kremlin and sound waves. But the reality is much, much worse. As I've mentioned before, we humans are literally changing the gravity of the planet by melting tons and tons of ice sheets and glaciers. Just even this one thing is changing things in ways that we are not going to be able to fix by all driving electric cars. And no one really knows how this is going to pan out. If we start to make things wobble too much, then it's game over for everything on this planet. And watch out to the other planets and moons in our solar system, because it's going to be like pinball out there. That's all I'm saying. I'll put a link in the further reading section at the bottom for a scientific article about this. It would serve us right, except that we will be taking out everything else with us. To get a sense of the kind of timelines involved with carbon dioxide and heat we've baked into our Earth's energy system, look below at what I call the Archer diagram of misery, which is probably not what he calls it, which concludes that after we have finally hit the peak carbon levels that are already baked into our planet system and which are slated to hit around 1,400 parts per million, we are at roughly 400 parts per million now. Only then do we get to enjoy the long tail of it, which will continue for around 100,000 years. No worries though, because most life on Earth will have been baked to a crisp by then. So put another way, all of you who work to preserve a neighborhood, monument, archive, macaroni art, fill in the blank, there is nothing that is going to survive hothouse Earth, aka Venus. Nothing. Should there actually be intelligent life somewhere or in many millions of years into Earth's future, If some sort of intelligent life smarter than your pets evolves and tries to figure out what came before them, here on whatever they call this beautiful planet of ours, there will be no trace of us left behind. Maybe not even melted down remnants of all the plastic crap we've created. Not even cockroaches, nada. For those who think a luxurious bunker deep underground is going to see you through the bad times, dream on, or should I say, nightmare on. As the saying goes, nature bats last, and by last I mean there will be nothing left except maybe viruses and possibly some weird and mutated bacteria. When is this shit going to hit the fan? Literally any time now. We have crossed so many red lines, so many real tipping points that once a few more get scratched off the list, there may not even be time for the lunatics to launch millions of mirrors into space to reflect the sunlight and decrease the temperature, and they can kiss their asses goodbye too. Good riddance, in my opinion. For a cinematic take on the geoengineering gone wrong trope, I'd suggest the 2013 movie Snowpiercer, which is a totally weird movie and not really actually tied to anything realistic, but it's, you know, it's something to watch. Here's a nifty little graphic on the potential order in which things might go badly, but keep in mind that no one really knows. And curveball alert, we might just as likely be thrown nearly instantaneously into a new ice age, which isn't going to be pleasant either. For those who just endured the polar vortex, an abrupt ice age will be like that, but for the rest of your life. This is scientifically more complicated than can be explained in a few sentences, but for a Hollywoodization of what it might be like, except with a happy ending, watch the movie The Day After Tomorrow. In the graphic below, the ice age part of a looming tipping point appears as the orange circle that says thermohaline circulation. And a sudden abrupt swing into an ice age has happened before, at least once in Earth's history. If too many ice sheets collapse, which appears now to be actively underway and is irreversible, the Earth's conveyor belt is disrupted, which can actually throw the planet into what is called snowball Earth within only a few years, not like an adaptation level 1,000 years. Also from that same paper, which has what I refer to as the cascade of doom, my name for it, we have below another graphic which illustrates the chute we are currently headed down, which quite possibly has no off-ramp. We don't have 12 years. We have more like minus 50 or 60 years. And you can thank the likes of ExxonMobil and all the rest who knew it decades ago, but buried that message from the gas-guzzling public and just kept drilling anything that they could get their grubby hands on. I still have no idea why they think all the money in the world is going to help when you're incinerated, but whatever. Just a side note, did you all over the Facebook today, there's an article about the fact that a family who owns some land in Florida sued the government to drill for oil on their land, and they won. And everybody's like, stop, don't stop. But, you know, who's the government to say that somebody should or should not drill on their land? Because they can't even tell the big boys to stop. So why am I bothering now is the question. My to-do list for billionaires. There are now a lot of rich people in the world who seem to want to do good, but who understandably get bogged down in things like the non-profit circle jerk. There are even some rich people here in the U.S. who think they should enlighten everyone by running for president. Ha ha ha. Some of the super wealthy are even under the misguided notion that they could just build their own little bunker, hire future guards and farmers and teachers in their own military, etc. They seem to have fooled only themselves into mentally creating what they've been led to believe will be their own personal life raft. The expensive and lofty notion that they've been sold of their own private concierge service that allows them to sleep at night while things are still somewhat good leaves them feeling all panic-roomed. I'm not sure this is breaking news to the rest of us, but I suspect that most rich people, even if they've been given it even a little thought, already know deep down that none of that is going to even remotely work. Ditto for the idea that anyone, upon being notified that life on Earth is really about to become unbearable, gets launched into orbit or to a safe house on Mars, even with $50 billion worth of ass kissers telling you they'll serve you until the bitter end. That's just not going to happen. In fact, the lucky ones will be the first to go. So unless the super rich have a concierge person to administer the lethal injection once human civilizations begin sliding down the cascade of doom above, irreversibly and with no sign of an off-ramp, They are no better off than the average Joe, except that tonight's ambient-fueled sleep might be slightly less full of nightmares. Kim and Kanye and every other rich person cannot buy a big enough fire hose for their employees to save them. No livable planet equals no amount of money will save anyone, even Beyonce. However, I do have a plan that might possibly, but with a sliver of a chance, avert catastrophe. I say that with a grimace because I mostly know it's too late, but hell, maybe it's possible. And when I say this, I think of all we've done in outer space. What we humans have done to this planet only negates our exceptionalism elsewhere. Billionaires should pull the plug on all their philanthropic stuff and, like an a la carte menu, choose what they can actually do on a global scale. Actually do. Not research and beta test. We are way past that. Will there be unintended consequences? Without a doubt. But we are at the Hail Mary, all hands on deck, your kitchen is on fire stage of the situation, and everyone knows it. Don't worry about tax deductions, media coverage, public opinion, nothing. It's too late to care, and the remedy and the path to stabilized Earth in that diagram above is going to be imminently fugly. Unpleasant, bumpy, violent, and unfair, but we did this to ourselves with the help from the fossil fuel industry and rapacious greed that is capitalism dressed up and renamed progress. So as I said, this is an a la carte menu of things to buy and do. We are way past the community level version of any of this. If we can't do this on a huge and global scale immediately, we have no chance, none. And let's face it, America is the problem here. We are the ones who overconsume and overdrill and over everything, which has fed the beast that is income inequality and lopsidedness everywhere. We do not need more research. Not more R&D. I know that's redundant. We don't have the time for micro grants and to incubate nifty concepts. Fuck that. It's too late. We have dithered and hedged our bets all the way to literal hell at this point. Future generations, if they exist, will curse us. And Richard Branson need not apply to any of this. I'd almost rather be extinct than have to deal with his bullshit and fake everything. Here are things that can be done by the super wealthy who are inclined to do something to save themselves and, by extension, many other living things. I actually really enjoy that this person made this list because this is thinking it through. However, however far-fetched, this is thinking it through all the way, all the way to the end. On a reality level. One, someone needs to buy Fox News and either kill it completely or make it about the climate. Someone please buy Fox News and run it 24/7 with carbon level updates and information about nothing but the climate. Everyone is anxious and knows we are deeply in trouble. People are desperate for actual information. Fox News actively and deliberately impedes action on sensible things like action on the climate and gun control. They disseminate bad information to people who cannot and will not seek the truth, and they will stop every single action needed for our survival. Somebody buy Fox News now. I'm going to include CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, New York Times, ABC, NBC, CBS. All major stations need to be bought and turned into public awareness or educational programming immediately. Yeah, none of those stations have anything good to do for us either. So Fox News first, but all the other stations are doing their part to keep everybody dumb. So yeah. 2, pass out birth control pills like they're water bottles at a summer concert. We must bring our population down. Birth control pills need to be passed out like Pez candy everywhere on Earth. Newsflash to men, women would gladly choose not to be constantly pregnant if given the chance to take responsibility for their own reproduction. The only ones who will get in the way of this are men, 100%, and they will cloak it in religion, birth control, under the skin, in pills. Do it. I agree, and I will add the United Nations and every other nation needs to agree to have a one-child limit, period, for any and all people. No, it's not racist. No, it's not going to hurt some people more than others. It's not, obviously, obviously some people have it better than others, and some people, generational and, some society, yes, other cultures and blah, blah, blah. Nope, none of that. All of that, no. One child only. Every single continent, every single culture, every single race, every single people. That needs to just be agreed upon and just done. Period. And that's equal. That's fair. That's even. That's nobody's getting. Of course, people are going to game the hell out of that system, but you can try. 3, acquire drilling rights in any and all land that might be drilled. Everywhere, buy anywhere that is going to be mined for oil and gas and coal, and then hold on to it and list an army of volunteers, or get the actual army to do this. Take the army offline and have them do this, or employees a jobs program for sure, and plant so many trees. We desperately need more carbon sinks. By acquiring the places that are to be skinned alive and then planting and reforesting, you keep it in the ground and creates carbon sinks to absorb the carbon. The oceans can't do more, and they are about to burp it all out, either via methane hydrates or in other similar unpleasant ways, which is a huge tipping point. 4, buy forest acreage and large swaths of land here and especially abroad that are about to be deforested, and stop that action from happening. Then plant trees like your life depends on it, because it does. 5, this is one more complicated. This one is more complicated to explain, but what has to happen right away in order to prevent more positive feedbacks from kicking in, which are actually a negative bad thing, despite how it sounds, is that the albedo level on Earth needs to be radically increased. Ice and snow have a high albedo. They reflect much more solar energy back out into space than, for example, the oceans, which are dark and which absorb and retain the heat. I've written about cool pavements before, but what needs to happen, like in parking lots, airstrips, streets, on roofs, everywhere there is a tarmac, dark and heat absorbing surfaces like asphalt, again perpetuated by the fossil fuel industry to diabolical extremes, is that they need to be reflective. I know how to do this and where the nanotechnology exists. It is too much to put in this bullet, but if you are a billionaire, you know what to do, and it has to be everywhere. There are lots of abandoned lots and buildings. Buy them and paint them. The albedo reflectivity can be measured from space if you want to know if it's working. Otherwise, we are going to have people launching stuff perpetually into the atmosphere trying to reflect light, and again millions of stupid mirrors are going into space to reflect the sun's rays. That's geoengineering, and it is the final straw on the camel's back of our extinction. 6, we have to do global scale carbon capture and storage right away. Yes, it's being done in small scale operations, but there is no money in it. Not to beat a dead horse, but all that money in the world is just about to not matter. There's a very promising plant in Edmonton, Canada, for example. This needs to be scaled up to a global level ASAP. Rich people need to replicate that system all over the world and put it into action. Not small scale. No more R&D. It's go time. We need to suck the carbon out of the atmosphere. Imagine trying to stop the Titanic on a dime. It's not going to happen. We have locked in so much more warming than we are experiencing right now. We need to radically reverse that trend before the rest of the baked-in carbon is emitted. Example, things get warmer or just stay as warm as they are right now this minute, and boom, more permafrost melts, burping out gigantic amounts of carbon dioxide, and even worse, initially, is all the methane that gets released, and methane breaks down into carbon dioxide. This, again, is a positive feedback, because the more warm it gets, the more this permafrost is being melted and the more greenhouse gases are being released. Carbon capture and storage is not going to vacuum up the excess carbon in the atmosphere, but it is going to pump the brakes as we get nearer to the proverbial cliff. This is a short and incomplete grocery list of things that rich people who want to do something to save our species can do. There are many more things which must be done, but they are less centered around what one or even a few people can do alone and quickly. For example, we need to stop building with cement. We need to have every building equipped with solar panels. Every office building should power itself. We already have all of this technology. It's being R&D'd to death because there's no money and tons of pushback to actually just fucking do it. The money is in grants to keep researching it, again, until it's stomped into the ground for nothing. The pushback is huge, and that's where the Fox News stuff is key. For every logical and smart action we would have taken and should have taken, there are 100 better funded and better broadcast horrible and wrong movements to make sure nothing changes until it does, which it will. Of this, I am certain. There's lots to talk about in this article. I thought this was, at least an attempt to tell people what they can do with their money, rich people, what they can do with their money if they really want to help. Leonardo DiCaprio, all of you guys, Bloomberg, all you people who say you care, this is how you can actually care. I do think, though, that they should take all their money and start doing this, and Um, and I still think that worldwide, all industry should be nationalized. Fossil fuel companies should be nationalized. Everything should be nationalized, taken over, and just taken offline. Of course, yes, this is going to disrupt. Uh, this will disrupt, kick in the global dimming thing, most likely. But we can keep some things going, right? Like electricity or some transportation. Um, we're going to keep some of this stuff going, but we're going to have to take other things offline. But we're going to keep some of this going in order to make all these changes, to foster all these changes. We're going to have to burn carbon to build solar panels or to build big windmills or whatever it is that we're going to try and keep power going with. Carbon sequestration is going to take fossil fuel, burning of fossil fuels in order to upscale this, right? To get this going at that scale, it's going to take a lot of manpower and industrialized input. So there are plenty of ways we can keep the particulates in the air while we're doing this, but we can keep it up and we can start sucking it out of the air and start bringing it down. Yes, of course, this is completely far-fetched that this is actually going to happen because people are going to insist that nothing is happening until the brutal bitter end, and a lot of those people are going to be in power, unfortunately, unless we rise up as one and take them out. Unless we all march on them and walk them out of their office buildings and the government buildings and just take them the hell away from the levers. Get their hands off the levers. That's also another thing that could help. Anyways, that's all I have for you tonight. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Black Bear News. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.